Good morning and welcome to another one of our Oakridge series of webinars, this time on the International Baccalaureate's Diploma Program. My name is Arjun Rao and I've been a teacher and educator for nearly 15 years now, and I'm currently the principal of the Oakridge International School in Bangalore. As we begin, you will see on the right of your screen a couple of chat platforms. Please post any questions that you might have, any comments, any suggestions that you have while we're going through this webinar and learning together about the IBDP. Please do post your questions here and we'll try and answer as many of them as we get done through the course of this webinar. Also, if you require or need more detailed information, please do write to us on the email address displayed before you right now, info@oakridge.in, and we will get back to you at the earliest with any solutions to your questions. The IB, a phenomenal academic program. I have been teaching and engaging with students of the IB for nearly 7 to 8 years now, and find that everything about the IB is driven and rooted from a very tremendous central philosophical construct that stems from its learner profile. And I think it's very, very important for us to keep in mind the educational experience that our students will have when they are in a position to actually understand why they are learning what they are learning. When we have it very clearly defined for us that this is the reason behind why certain courses exist the way they do, you will find that students tend to respond to these curriculums, and particularly at the age of 16 and above, which is what the IBDP is relevant for, you will find students engaging with programs in a manner that requires them to be open-minded, to be reflective, to be genuinely caring, to take risks, and to communicate with each other and across the world on a series of issues and platforms that you would think children, and there are children even at 16, will never ever engage with. There is a deep-rooted understanding of courses and curriculums through a range of engagements that students will undertake over the course of this 2-year period of study. And the IB is very clear when they define their learner profile, when they say that this is the kind of not just student but teacher as well, anyone who is engaged with the learner process, who is able to guide learning and teaching within the school system. As you can see from the data in front of you, you will find that there are schools that offer the IB across the world. Right here in India, the numbers are increasing at a phenomenal rate. Increasingly, students are starting to engage with each other across the world more than they have done ever before. The IB is a platform that brings them all together, and especially as they head into university or into the workplace where they are going to engage with each other, irrespective of nationalities, irrespective of races, genders, any sort of petty difference that might divide them, this is a curriculum that is going to truly bind them together and work towards creating this feeling of international mindedness that is so important in every one of the IB's courses.
The International Baccalaureate means to me my studies, my education. I personally think it's a program that's going to prepare me best for university and eventually a successful future.
Learning about things that will make you a more rounded person.
I guess a breadth of learning, so learning math, science, the humanities, maybe the arts.
Otro tipo de exigencia, la verdad. Porque, por ejemplo, en las pruebas uno estaba acostumbrado a que te preguntaran lo mismo que te habían enseñado. Y en esto te pasan las herramientas básicamente, pero después tú en las pruebas tienes que aprender a cómo usarlas.
It pushes a holistic vision of education, one that emphasizes the student as an interpreter rather than as a recipient.
And what it allows us to do as professionals working in this area is actually help our students to become international citizens really through an academic program.
The most enjoyable part of the International Baccalaureate for me, I think it's just the challenge.
Como una oportunidad de como abrir fronteras, por así decirlo, y es más que nada un reto y como experiencias distintas a las que comúnmente se vive acá en el colegio.
I think it's important for the programme to have so many different elements, like the theory of knowledge, the creative action and service, and the extended essays, because it actually really helps the students at the university level. By being creative in different formats, they can lend different skills to different subjects.
Yes, I'm actually really excited about the extended essay. I'm going to do mine on Shakespeare.
You choose any subject you want. It can be in any of the International Baccalaureate subjects.
The extended essay promotes a very high level of research, promotes intellectual discovery and creativity, and gives a person an opportunity to write on a topic that he wants or he's interested in.
This extended essay is a mini thesis. It's a doctorate, but at the level of these children.
Theory of knowledge is a course based around the question of how do we know.
It's designed to make you a critical thinker, so you don't just accept facts or things necessarily the way they're presented to you. Think about it more.
Es muy distinto y es una de las pocas materias que en otros colegios no se imparte y es una de las cosas como especiales que tiene el diploma.
The IB, more than any course I've ever come into contact with, demands personal responses, requires students to unpackage things. That for me is why theory of knowledge is at the center. It's a constant questioning of the syllabus all around in all subject areas.
For me, Creativity Action Service is a program which is meant to prepare you more for your university, not just studying and being quite selfish in yourself.
And so you're not only focusing on your grades, you're also focusing on your creativity. Like there are some activities such as photography. You're also working on your action, your sportsmanship, teamwork, and service, I think, is one of the most important things.
It made me grow up in ways I couldn't imagine. Like from helping the disabled riding ponies, or from coming to school and playing soccer every Saturday, it really has made me a better person.
I think the service helps you get in touch with the society, get in touch with those who need it, those who aren't as privileged as us.
Y que a pesar de ser un elemento obligatorio, me ha abierto muchas puertas a entender lo que es la entrega social.
Involves you giving to the community and not, doing it for your own benefit.
Y es parte fundamental del diploma, luego que te incentiva a crecer como persona íntegra.
I mean, this is what school's about. It's about learning to be with different people from different cultures. And I think the IB really shows you that this is what you should be doing as a child.
It's taught me to be disciplined, but it's also taught me about myself and how I can accomplish everything that I think I would like to do.
I enjoy it because it's rigorous and I know I'm getting a good education, but at the same time it allows, especially the Creativity, Action and Service program, allows for you to have a learning outside the classroom. It really encourages you to become a rounded person.
You get all this work, you get all these challenges, and then it sort of ends up being fun just working your way through it.
Many universities are realizing the value of IB and IB students. They find them well-rounded. They find scope, they find depth, they find skills, they find leadership, they find confident students. So they'd like these students to come and join them.
I feel very lucky to be in this program, and that at the end of these 2 years I want to have something that's going to open so many doors, and I want to have a lot of opportunities.
Now the world is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. We expect our students to travel everywhere in the world, when they actually start working professionally. And I think that the IB is preparing them for the future they're going to have.
As you've seen in the words of practitioners, students, teachers of this actual program, this is a program that encompasses a whole range of aspects of learning quite ignored by a lot of other curriculums and totally emphasized over here. They prepare students for what is believed to be a lifetime of learning. Which brings us to the big fundamental question. Why the IBDP? As you've seen in the learner profile, there is talk of the creation of a better world. There is genuinely the feeling of and the desire to promote peace. There is the drive to make students culturally aware of their differences, of their similarities, and to be able to encourage them to appreciate these differences and similarities. It also feeds into their own discoveries of identities, of aspects and passions that they perhaps did not even know that they had. It becomes so critical for our students across the world, wherever they might be, to learn this, because the world that they are going to inhabit is going to be one that is going to be determined by this pluralistic existence that we have today. The world is phenomenally and far too small to ignore any longer. We have to appreciate the fact, like we all do already, that our students are going to be working with each other towards the preservation of this planet. And this too is a very important goal to which the IB and the diploma program is completely committed. As you can see from data that exists, and you can go and find this data anywhere you look, compared to a whole host of curriculums that are available to students across the world, you will find that inevitably it is the IB that scores the highest on all forms of grading across curriculums and all aspects of learning. The IB program is an academically challenging course. Yes, everything that you've heard about this course is true. It requires hard work. You need to be completely committed to it, and you need to know where you are going from the minute you start this 2-year program. Of course, it immediately makes a few students balk at the idea of studying such a hard curriculum, working as hard as it requires you to. And what I must advise them is to give the IB a chance, because the diploma program has in it aspects of learning that will challenge you like no other curriculum has before. It will force you to think about issues that you've never thought about before, and force you to wonder what sort of learner and human being you wish to become as you go forward. Because this is a balanced curriculum. You aren't studying only one or two aspects and fields of study. You are focusing on a whole range of them that exist today in the world. And that will allow you to have and make genuine choices when it comes to choosing universities, when coming to choosing majors, minors, courses, and even careers going forward. It is a course for life beyond school and university. It prepares you as a student to think about issues that will surround your life. The course itself derives from the IB continuum, which, as you can see, from the center of all three programs that the IB offers is its philosophy and the learner profile that binds all of them. The common strains and threads that flow from one program to the other drive the learning, and especially once you get to the phase of the IBDP in grade 11 and finally finish with grade 12, you will find that students who've gone through the entire continuum, as they are doing currently here at Oakridge, you will find that students are well-rounded, they have a perfect and great understanding of the world around them, and are emerging into thoughtful, reflective learners and communicators. Of course, one question that I think a lot of people will immediately ask is, what happens if you only study the DP or one of the other curriculums that are available in Singularity and Isolation? Of course, there's nothing wrong. There are schools across the world that offer either one or two or some all three, and you can choose and move between them. And that is the wonder of the IB and the courses that they offer, that they allow and enable students to move seamlessly between other curriculums without there being a trace of a difficulty or a gap in learning, so as to speak. Once again, I'd like to remind you that the chat window that is on the right of the screen will be open. If you have any questions, we've got a large number of them already come in. And of course, if you want greater details, please do get in touch with us on info@oakridge.in, and I will be answering all your questions later on as well. This is the core of the diploma program. This is how it exists. This is what it looks like. As you can see, the learner profile is at its center, and then it is bound in by a variety of factors that we're going to study as this webinar goes by. The curriculum itself requires students to choose one subject from 5 groups that are available for study, which is mainly the best of first language, an additional language, the social sciences, the experimental and physical sciences, and mathematics. A student may also choose to study an arts-based subject, visual arts, filmmaking, design, music, theatre, or a second subject from either Group 3, which is the humanities, or Group 4, which is the science subjects. What you will find is that students have to study 3 subjects at the higher level, while the other 3 are studied at the standard level. What this means is that students have the ability to choose specific subjects that they'd like to study, that they're more passionate about, areas that they find their interests in, and develop their learning even further. The standard level subjects prop up the other subjects and develop the holistic version of the learning that exists in the IB Diploma program. Of course, the question that this often drives a lot of people to ask is, does that mean, and as you can see, the teaching hours for the higher level and standard level are different, nearly by about 100 hours. And people often ask, so what does that mean? Does that mean that there's free time? Well, technically, yes. However, that free time is a time to develop independent learning. And it's something that is so important after school. You arrive at university, and the first thing your university professor will give you is work, and no one will tell you what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it. You need to find your own ways to independently be responsible for your own time and learning. And that is what the IB encourages from day 1 of your grade 11, where you find yourself engaging with this course in that manner. So, to break down the model itself, when we look at academic subjects that the students will study, this is a sample that I've created. Of course, the range of subjects is just phenomenal that's out there, and a lot of information is available on the IB's website or on schools' websites. In an ideal scenario, particularly in India, very often you will find that this tends to be the most popular of subject choices. The first language, or as the paper is known as, Studies in Language and Literature, is inevitably English, though you can do this course in Spanish, in German, in French. You have the language acquisition, or the Group 2 courses, which would be close to the equivalent of our second languages in Indian curriculums. However, I must add that the IB advises students to study here a language that they have little or no knowledge of. And why is this important? Because our students are going to travel the world. They're going to engage with people for whom not just language but culture is going to be a very, very different aspect. This even perfunctory understanding of a language at, let's say, the standard level, or even the ab initio, which is completely at the beginner level, will at least allow students to think about what it means to be someone who thinks in another language. You then have the humanities, subjects like economics, history, and business management. You have the sciences, physics, chemistry, biology. You have mathematics, and yes, mathematics is a mandatory and required subject here in the IB, and we'll be addressing that separately in a little while. And finally, you have the arts-based subject courses, like I've mentioned, like visual arts. Of course, you could choose to drop Group 6 subjects and focus on either Group 3 or Group 4, and that would look something like this. If you have your focus on the humanities, you would probably end up studying, let's say, English in your studies in language and literature courses. Your language acquisition would be subjects like Hindi, French, and Spanish. You might focus on economics and business management, or economics and history. You might study any one science of your choice and end up studying mathematics. Or, conversely, you could study subjects with a focus on Group 4. This tends to be a very popular sort of combination with people who are planning to study courses based in either finance or engineering after school. You'll find them studying English, another language, economics to provide that finance humanities aspect. You'll have them studying 2 sciences, physics and chemistry at the higher level, and of course mathematics as well. This medicine in India, as you can see up here, tends to be one that drives a lot of people to ask the question about whether they need to study 3 sciences and whether the IB allows them to do it. Yes, as a student, your school can make a special approval request to the IB that will allow you to therefore drop Group 3 and Group 6 completely and focus on the 3 sciences as they might exist in a combination of your choice. So, you have the program model, which brings us now to what is in the middle over there, the concept of the IB diploma's core. We have 3 principal subjects that dominate the core. The first being the theory of knowledge, you then have the extended essay, and finally creativity, action and service. All these 3 are mandatory components of the IB. Theory of knowledge requires students to engage with subjects in a way that is not being done in any other curriculum in the world. They ask students to find out and discover how they know what they know. Is it determined and differentiated by the culture they belong to, by their gender, by their upbringing, by the fact that they live in a particular location? How do we know what we know? And conversely, what is the nature of the subjects that we study? Where did they come from? Why do we study it? For example, does mathematics exist in nature, or was it a field of study created by man? Something to completely think about. And your TOK or theory of knowledge classes will ask you and force you as a student to think about and engage with the subject like this. In the diploma program, you focus on what are known as ways of knowing and on areas of knowledge, driving you to think of how knowledge exists in the world, how it is controlled, how it is existent and available to certain people and at certain times. You begin to become available to yourself and your identity, and you start thinking about how you think and engage with courses. You start thinking and acting perhaps responsibly, and of course the assessment at the end of the program happens through an essay and a presentation. The other components are the extended essay and creativity, action and service. The extended essay is a 4,000-word essay that is submitted by all students. It is in a subject of your choice that drives you to think of research authentically and how it happens. It is in a field of study that you have selected as a student. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a subject that you are studying, but of course it helps, as you might have the skills for the research that you need to conduct. It is a patient learning of the subject of your research over the course of the 2-year course of the diploma. What you find yourself doing as a consequence is preparing for the kind of research that you'll have to do once you are an undergraduate at university. You will be able to investigate a topic of special interest, that is, of interest to you, and of personal thought and drive for you as a person who is passionate about something. And you will be able to completely work with your supervisor on developing this project, this essay that you will be so proud of. The TOK and the extended essay are monitored and are graded through a matrix that exists, and at the end of it you are granted 3 bonus points, which brings up your academic total to 45. We then have the final, and for some students, one of the most interesting components of the IB, which is the creativity, action and service component. Creativity refers to something that you decide to learn, you decide to pursue, something that you're passionate about, or something that you like to discover about yourself through your creativity, through a project and a portfolio that you will submit. Action refers to physical action, and we've already spoken about the skills that you need for the rest of your life, and believe me, physical action is something that you will drive yourself towards pursuing for the rest of your life. And finally, there is engagement with service to your community, to those around you, to those who need your support and your service. All these 3 feed into the kind of human being that you are going to become. And it becomes something that is so important in life as we meet students, as we meet employers who keep talking about how students and young people need to be passionate about something that drives them and engages them. The CAS is exactly that. Your personal challenges, your personal drives are what are going to push you to become the human being that you are. You will work with teams, and you will hand in a portfolio at the end of the 2 years that will determine your final grade and, of course, the entire experience you've had. So, that in itself is the IB diploma program, bound by its subjects, put together by the core, with its philosophy of the learner profile at the center, and of course bound completely by the idea of international mindedness and becoming a truly global citizen. How do you earn a diploma? Each subject is entitled 7 points, and the highest possible total that you can earn is a 42 there, and of course the 3 points with the courses in the core, which include the TOK and the extended essay, which will bring you up to a total of 45. Once again, before we get into the section on universities and how the IB is applicable or accepted there, I invite you again to type in your questions in the chat column that would be on the right of your screen. Please do send in questions. We've already got a whole load of them. We'll answer as many as we can today, and the rest we'll write back to you on info@oakridge.in. Please write in to us. Let us know if there are further details that you require.
Hi, my name is Nitish Kulkarni, and I'm an undergraduate at Stanford. I was part of Oakridge International's class of 2012. I graduated last year.
In Hyderabad, and
it was
of
an
course,
amazing experience.
the choices that he had.
Enriching environment there to another enriching environment here. Oakridge was phenomenal in the amount of learning and brilliant work that they helped us do. The school encouraged us to follow our own ideas and to do our own kinds of research. You can see, the school created an environment where we could try almost anything that we wanted. Take, for example, the time when our team won the University of South Florida's Science and Technology Competition, ISTF. Or one of the countless times we traveled all the way to China for Model UN. Oakridge is a simply great place, and frankly, without the help and support of the teachers and faculty there, I wouldn't be where I am today. Thanks.
So that was one of our students who are currently studying at Stanford. He graduated a few years ago from our campus in Hyderabad. And of course, the choices that he had before him were phenomenal, because there are thousands of universities that exist in the world. And going through that process of discovering where you'd like to study, where you'd like to go to school, where you'd eventually like to find your careers establishing themselves is not easy. It requires you as a student to start planning this as early as is possible. And when you find yourself in that place where you're wondering, do universities accept the IB? How do they recognize them? You will be pleasantly discover that all universities across the world recognize the IB. Increasingly, you will also discover that the statistics are overwhelmingly in favor of IB students across the world. They are being accepted in courses and programs everywhere. Name a university, name a nationality, and you have them being accepted here as well. And we will be addressing some of those questions that you might have, particularly about Indian universities, in our Q&A section. The next video is one that has another one of our students who is studying in the United States, and she too is going to talk about our program and about her interactions with the diploma itself.
Hi Oakridge, this is Supriya Chak from Tufts University in Boston. It's been almost a month now, and I've been having such an amazing time here. I thought the college life. Hi Oakridge, this is Supriya Chak from Tufts University in Boston. It's been almost a month now, and I've been having such an amazing time here. Honestly, I thought the college life would be very different from school, but I found out within like a week of college that life really is what you make it to be. I've been in Oakridge since it started, since the 3rd grade, and there's no denying that this school has had a huge role to play in molding me. At Oakridge, I learned that to succeed academically, you need to focus not just on doing well in your studies, but also experiment with and find your extracurricular strengths, as well as work towards being a better human being. IB especially has prepared me so well for the rigor of the college courses, and because of my final exam grades, I got 4 credits already, which allows me to graduate 1 semester early. So Oakridge really has been the best launching pad for me, and it will always be a part of me. I miss everyone at Oakridge so much and can't wait to come back and visit in the winter. Hi.
There you have it. As you see data that defines how students are accepted into universities after the IB, you will find that overwhelmingly across the world, acceptance rates of students who are studying the IB is very, very high. These are some of the schools and universities that our students have been accepted to over the last few years, and particularly over this last year. You've got students who've gone to Princeton, who've been accepted at UPenn, who are at now Brown, who's going to go into Cornell, Chicago. I mean, the range is phenomenal. And it is their education within the IB, the kind of engagement, the kinds of programs that they were exposed to as students of the IB that have brought them to this point. We also find that this year, very proudly for all of us, one of our students has emerged as the world topper. Young man that Nikhil Jain, who was head boy at our campus in Hyderabad last year, he has scored a 45 and 45, a phenomenal achievement. He finds himself in a minuscule percentage of students that exist out there. Of course, the question that a lot of you might have is, okay, this is, one student, he is somebody who's clearly done really well, and his track record right through his career with us at Oakridge was very, very good. Yes, there are students like Nikhil, but there are whole ranges of students. And like I've already said, the IB is a course for every single person that's out there. Every student will find ability to be able to engage with this course in a way that they will never be able to engage with academics ever. It allows students to be able to find themselves. As you will hear in a minute from Nikhil himself about the kind of learning that he had, the kind of exposure that he had, you'll find that this is a young man who clearly had his ideas well in place for a very long time. He, I should add, was somebody who studied all group subjects, including art, which was something that throws a lot of people off. But he did. And we've got a lot of questions about Group 6, which I'll be addressing in a minute. But let's hear from Nikhil first.
Hi, I'm Nikhil Jain, and I've been a student at Oakridge International School, Newton campus, for the past 12 years now. In May of this year, I finished the last 2 years of my schooling with the IB Diploma program. Now, this was one program in which I had selected 6 different subjects of my interest, and the end result was in fact fantastic, with a score of 45 on 45. Now, as I look back, I can look at, it's quite simple to look at the whole process as an independent pursuit of my own goals and ambitions. But when I really reflect on what has been put in to that final score of a 45, I can really reflect on the fact that it has been a joint experience of faculty, staff, activities, and different programs at Oakridge alike that have shaped my personality over the past couple of years. For example, I never knew I would have such an ardent interest in the visual arts, but through different competitions and opportunities that I had and the encouragement from teachers, it's often simple to look at the whole process as an independent pursuit of my own goals and ambitions. But as I really reflect on the past couple of years, I can really look back at these experiences where I have been helped and supported by a number of teachers and different situations where I was encouraged by the faculty and the staff at Oakridge to really pursue those dreams of mine in different areas. I have been able to explore different aspects of my own interest areas. Oakridge has also given me the opportunity to improve my leadership skills. With the prefect council, where we had to adopt our positions as, say, the head boy, the head girl, student council president, etc., I was able to really exercise my ability to improve teamwork skills, communication, leadership, and the ability to assume responsibility. As of now, as I look forward to the next few years that I will be spending at college in Columbia University in the city of New York, I can really reflect on the fact that I have taken so much away from this school. Not only have I had a holistic education and development of my personality, I've had a series of memorable experiences that I can all look back upon and really enjoy the Oakridge spirit. Thank you.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. In the words of one of our own students, where he's talking about how he has enjoyed and learned from a whole range of teachers, a whole range of experiences that he's had. And now, to give you greater perspective from some more of our students to round up this webinar, I give you another video about our programs, about our courses, and how things fell into place with the diploma at Oakridge.
IB is all about molding a student into a global citizen, focusing on holistic development. Overall, this program is a gateway to student globalization.
The learner profiles are a constant reminder to ensure that every student develops emotionally, physically, and intellectually. The IB Diploma program is therefore both broad and balanced.
One of the best parts of the IB curriculum is its flexibility. It does not force students to conform to one particular field, but it allows them to pursue their interests, both vocationally and career-wise.
The CAS activities are the personal initiatives that you want to implement. The CAS activities enables the IB students to be part of, yet stand out in today's society.
Oakridge, it has been a continuous effort to preserve, conserve and protect our environment. The Green Rangers project believes that the onus is on us.
IB is a course which encourages students to really explore and open their minds. IB is a course which also encourages you to see interrelationships between subjects and topics which seem unconnected or isolated. I'm so happy that my daughter selected IB at Oakridge because it's helping me learn and grow with her.
IB에서 TOK는 여느 정규 과목 못지않게 아주 중요하게 여겨지고 있습니다. TOK는 선생님들의 가르침, 책에서 배우는 것들, 그런 것들에 그치지 않고 학생들이 자기 자신의 생각과 자기 의견을 마음껏 표현해낼 수 있게 도와주는 하나의 중요한 요소라고 생각하면 됩니다.
The way my kids think out of the box and while sitting on the dining table, the way we all sit and talk about stuff that, it's surprising that they are my children, that they can think in different ways.
If you really want your son or daughter to be an independent lifelong learner who's principled, caring, inquirers, risk-takers, effective communicators, well-balanced and caring, then I would encourage you that the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program is for your son and daughter.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to yet another Oakridge webinar in the series, and I hope you will join us next month for Mr. Gustav's webinar about education and partnership. I hope today has been educational, and I hope you've been able to gather some information about the diploma program and about the IB. Please do write in for any further questions, and stay tuned for more webinars by leading practitioners in the Oakridge group of schools. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend and a phenomenal Saturday ahead. Thank you.
Oakridge International School, we really find this at the bottom of what is needed as the basis for education. We want to call this a way of exercising wisdom. And for me, wisdom is a lot like living life successfully. There's life lessons that we learn on the go, nothing theoretical. At the school here, we tend to build relationships because we believe that the basis of any human interaction, especially where learning is involved, is based on a relationship. There are certain aspects that we believe are important, most likely for a parent, but it's also true for relationships between teachers and students. We believe that unconditional acceptance is the starting point. Because of that acceptance being consistent throughout an academic year, for instance, you would find that there is a propensity for students to listen or for kids to understand. I would believe that parents,
teachers, leaders anywhere in an organization would benefit from listening to this webinar and interacting with us, because it tells you about the basis that is needed for any relationship to be productive, and for anybody, whether it's the listener or the speaker, to learn from one another. So we look forward.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the IB Diploma Program. And before we wrap up, I have a couple of questions here. There's one about that's asking about Indian universities accepting the IB. And yes, all Indian universities accept the IB. They are all taking students in for a whole range of courses. You have IB students across the country who are attending courses. Of course, the follow-up question to that would probably be something about the exams being delayed. So the exams for the IB happen in May and in November. And a majority of Indian schools end up opting for the May session, which means the results are usually out by the first week of July. Now that, of course, technically creates a slightly logistical issue when it comes to grade acceptances, how do you get in, and you'll be happy to know that a large number of Indian colleges are accepting students and giving them conditional admission to their universities. Now what does conditional admission mean? It basically means that you will find yourself admitted for a course on grades as specified by your teachers who've taught you, who know you best, the same process that is applicable to classes and courses that you would study anywhere else in the world. And once your grades are out in early July, you go and submit your mark sheet at the college of your choice, and you will turn that conditional admission into a real one. There is talk about a student going into study medicine after studying the diploma program. Definitely. Of course, depends on where you're studying this course. In India, there are the medical entrance exams that a student has to give, and all IB students will be more than ready to be able to do it. The interesting part of studying the science subjects in India is the fact that you will find the IB students having engaged with labs, with experiments, with studying projects known as the Group 4 projects, which they work together as a team to commit themselves to academic research in the sciences, which is rather phenomenal. You will not really see students of other curriculums doing that. So once they're in university, once they are there, you will find that these students are shining way above anybody else because they've already been there. In fact, there are universities in the world that actually give students credit for having studied certain courses at certain levels in the IB. And the next question that we've got takes the conversation neatly into the idea of exams and courses that students in India can take and do. There's talk of the Indian competitive exams, of course. All IB students can give absolutely any exam. In fact, I believe that the IB, with its rigorous study, will completely prepare students for a university career irrespective of the course, of the curriculum that they are studying anywhere in this world. There is a question about studying art subjects. Someone has asked, why is it compulsory to study an art subject? Well, it isn't compulsory. As I've already mentioned, you can choose to drop the Group 6 subjects, the arts-based subject, and focus on the humanities of the individuals and societies, or the science subjects. However, why the IB recommends that students study Group 6 is not perhaps to drive them down a path or a career of becoming artists, but to open up their minds through the entire learning process. You've heard from Nikhil, who spoke earlier this this morning on one of the videos. And he's a student who's now a world topper. He's got the highest grade possible in the IB. He studied art. And if you speak to him, you'll find that it has opened up his mind in a way that nothing else would have. It allows students to engage with the creativity that is within them, allows them to be able to apply that creativity. However, it is left up to you as a student whether you would like to study that course or not. There is a question about the extended essay. There is a student who says the extended essay sounds really scary. Can you tell us more about it? So the extended essay is a very exciting part of the IB. I think if I was a student who was studying the IB, I think I would really, really have enjoyed this aspect of the program, because it allows me to be able to engage with a subject that I want to engage with. I find myself a supervisor. Of course, the school will assign one to me, and we start working towards developing the idea of a research question and then developing an essay. The work is entirely mine. My supervisor spends barely a couple of hours with me over the course of the 2 years, but it allows me to learn in a patient manner to conduct and stick with a piece of research over the course of 2 years, which drives the sort of writing that I will do. It will drive the kind of academic choices that I will make. And in some cases, we find that students are completely taken in by the extended essays that they study and by the courses that they will therefore end up choosing when they enter university, when they apply for work subsequently. It ends up being a field of study that you perhaps could see your future in. We have a question about how difficult will the course be if they decide to study 4 higher level subjects. So technically you can study 4 higher level subjects. However, it isn't encouraged, because you find yourself in a very, very tough spot when it comes to the kind of assignments and work that you're trying to submit. The idea behind creating the IB's well-rounded 6-subject platform is to allow you as a student to be able to emphasize on various aspects of learning in an equal sort of manner. The minute you start choosing more subjects from a particular area, or end up studying 4 higher level subjects, that balance gets slightly skewed. Now, it's not impossible, but it certainly requires the kind of commitment and the kind of support and development that you as a student must be willing to undertake as you go on in your educational journey. There's a question which is about the grades themselves. It's been asked, what is considered a good score in the IB? Which naturally 45 is the best score that you could possibly have. For most universities, I think they will recognize students have done exceptionally well if you get anything from a 40 and above. 40 and above is a tremendous amount of work. It means that you have focused and learned in a phenomenal way over the course of the past 2 years and are now ready for university. For the IB, the minimum score that you need to get to qualify for the diploma is 24 points, definitely doable by every single student who is out there. And what you find as world averages sit somewhere in the mid to late 30s, which are very good scores. And then you have, of course, the students who do really, really well, like a number of our students have done, who have got themselves scores above 40, and of course, this year our first 45. So, that in effect brings us to an end of the question. There are many more, but we will be writing back to a couple of people who've asked some very technical and detailed questions. We'll be getting in touch with you. Please do continue to write in to us on our website, info@oakridge.in. Of course, I'd also very proudly be able to let you know that our next webinar next month, the one in August, is going to be conducted by my colleague, Mr. Gustav Gropp in Hyderabad. He is the principal of the Newton campus there, and he's going to be talking about schools and the partnership that must exist between schools and parents and how that impacts the development of a child and his or her learning. So let's hear a little bit more from Gustav, who's coming up now.
Seeing you on 22nd of August at 11 a.m. in the morning. At Oakridge International School, we really try and get to the bottom of what is needed as the basis for kids to learn of education. Probably one could call this a way of exercising wisdom. And for me, wisdom is a lot like living life successfully. Because life lessons that we learn on the go, nothing theoretical. At the school here, we tend to build relationships because we believe that the basis of any human interaction, especially where learning is involved, is based on a relationship. There are certain aspects that we believe are important, much like for a parent. It is also true for a relationship between teachers and students. We believe that unconditional acceptance is the starting point. That because of that acceptance being consistent throughout an academic year, for instance, you would find that there is a propensity for students to listen or for kids to understand. I believe that parents, teachers, leaders anywhere in an organization would benefit from listening to this webinar and interacting with us because it tells you about the basis that is needed for any relationship to be productive and for anybody, whether it's the listener or the speaker, to learn from one another.
So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to yet another Oakridge webinar in the series, and I hope you will join us next month for Mr. Gustav's webinar about education and partnership. I hope today has been educational, and I hope you've been able to gather some information about the diploma program and about the IB. Please do write in for any further questions, and stay tuned for more webinars by leading practitioners in the Oakridge group of schools. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend and a phenomenal Saturday ahead. Thank you.